Good morning. Appreciate you being here. Comments, a few comments on the game. I think I said pretty much all I had as far as descriptive adjectives on the win. We're very excited. Tough history for us to go up there and get it done, and we did. A great first half, and they've got a prideful program. As I said, they were not gonna, we kind of knocked them around. They weren't going to stay down, and they had shown to have a lot of tenacity and grit in the win versus Ball State and San Diego State. Coach McElwain is a longtime coach, been coaching longer than I, and we knew they were going to come out swinging, and they certainly did. So Central Michigan had a lot to do with some of the second half mistakes. But obviously the turnover glaring, the special team stuff was glaring, that we got to get cleaned up. But to wrap up that game, I just told the staff, the team leading up to the game, look, fellas, we got to find a way to get a road win. And I don't care what the stats say. I mean, that came out of my mouth. We're going to find a way to get a win. And they know the formula, all three phases. TFO, they know the formula. I just wanted to make a point of keep straining, find a way to get a win, and we've been able to do that, and we're excited. Moving on, the 24-hour period is over. Obviously, we're playing the defending MAC champ, and it's a rivalry game, Battle of the Bricks. I believe this is the 100th meeting. Not pretty cool, really cool. Long history. I've been here 20 years. Coach Martin, not sure what year he's on, but probably double digits. I would think 10 or 11 is my guess. I think it's college football at its finest. I believe Ohio University and Miami are the two oldest, maybe in the state. We're number one. Our sister institution is number two. That's fact. So again, it's what college football is all about. I've been a part of a lot of these, and we're going to prepare the same way. I'm going to get that there right now. It's not the last game of the year. It's not the Super Bowl. It's a game that it's got a little bit more meaning. We know a lot of their players. All right. I mean, we recruited Brett Gabbert. I mean, we recruited a lot of their guys. That chose to go a different direction. I'm sure there's someone on our roster that they could say the same thing. So we know guys in their staff. It's a healthy, just exciting thing for college football. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
Andrew Bobby at WAB. Coach, coming off of a really emotional win against Central Michigan, how do you kind of not let that kind of get too out of control and get ready for obviously another big emotional game coming up this week?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. That's kind of why I said one of my opening statements was about, hey, this is a game we're playing the defending champion, in a rivalry game, but it's another game. Today's Monday, and this is what we do on Monday. Emotion is not going to win the game. Execution is, and I tip my hat to Coach Martin, and last year, hey, they got after us and out executed us. It's plain and simple. No turnovers, field position on special teams. I mean, it was a clinic now, and I told him that after the game. I tip my hat to him and his coaching staff. So the emotion part of it is what it is. To be honest with you, we got 58 guys in a team that this is their first time. We're going to show them today that we're going to show them today a mug. You guys know what that is? They don't. So it's to 58 guys in a team, it's their first go around, and so they get it. They're going to get it. But you got to keep the emotion out of it. You got to prepare the right way, and it's going to come down to execution.
Grant Key for WAB, kind of building off that, you have a lot of new guys on this team. Do you think they really understand just the significance of this rivalry yet and the importance of it?
I mean, I don't have a feel for it. I just know that they're smart enough to know college football and what a rivalry game is. OU Texas was last week. Then they know about the one in Columbus and and Ann Arbor through TV, as I did. I'm from Oklahoma. I was Oklahoma, Nebraska growing up. College football it's a great thing. And they had those rivalry games in high school, and so they're going to understand. They certainly better not prepare. They certainly better not be straining and preparing more for this one than they did last week, or I want to be upset with them. We want their best every week, right? And so our approach is going to be, today's Monday, and I think the older guys in the team will have some stories, because we've won a couple and we've lost a couple, here in the last 4 or 5 years, and so that's kind of our approach to it.
Bobby Keegan with the Post. Coach, so you talked about how Miami has so many returning players. Can you use that at all as kind of a benefit, considering you've seen them before?
Well, the returning players that they return, majority of their roster. Defensively, I think it's 7. Their front 7 is, I think they all played in the game last year. And they're I think there's 5 seniors and 2 juniors in the front 7. And so they've been part of a lot of those. The matchups, right? Secondary, there's a couple older guys, maybe one transfer in there, I think, from Mississippi State I saw. Offensively, the whole offensive line's back. Of course, the MAC player of the year's back in Brett Gabbert. Great guy. So we're not going to use it, but, to be a champion, you got to beat a champion. They are the champions, on at their place, and it's going to be a huge challenge with the guys that they return, and the roster turnover that we've had, and then that's just what it is. But we're not going to use it. But those guys, all those guys I mentioned, they have. I'll say this about Coach Martin and his staff. The guys that they did lose to graduation. He's replaced them with program guys. I think that speaks volumes to, just where their program is in their roster. I said that last week with Coach McElwain, and it's true with Coach Martin. I think they got a really good foundation. You've been there as long as he has, and what they've gotten done, and it's a healthy thing for this rivalry and college football.
Eric Decker with the Athens Messenger. Coach, looking at Miami, despite all the returners, they've kind of struggled offensively in terms of the run game, averaging under 100 yards a game. They've only had 2 rushing touchdowns all year. So defensively, is that something where you would want to key on, where you'd want to maybe put more in the box, or are you comfortable rushing 4 and just seeing how everything goes? Just how do you plan to attack that rush game?
I'm really glad you asked that question, and I wish I would have probably said something in my opening statement, but this is legit answer as I can give, and I'm passionate about it. You look at who they played, non-conference. All right, they played 3 Power 4 teams, and so you throw all that stuff away. It's not even in the equation. It's not. You take that schedule, more difficult than ours. All right, you play those types of teams. I'm just going to tell you. All right, I got 36 years of coaching this. I'm the expert when it comes to this kind of thing. Nobody else in the room. All right, I've lived it. All right, I recruit in the trenches. I know the grind of that. And your data, your stats, and what they say after playing that schedule aren't going to be very good. All right, I got all the data from every MAC East team when they had it, from 2010 to current, when they face those opponents, and what the average score is. Winning and losing, how many victories they are. I've studied it. All right. And so I can't believe I just said I'm an expert at anything, but I'm shocked right now. My wife's laughing and she's watching, but the data says you got to throw it out, and that's why you study it, because it doesn't, what their data is, that the things that you pointed out is irrelevant. You look at their last 2 conference games. Okay. That's going to tell you something. They played Toledo at Toledo. They played 2 road games. You want to look at data? Start there, all right? Because it's You're not playing at schools that Northwestern, Cincinnati, and Notre Dame, right? So to me, that's a trap. If you get into that, again, I think I put my point about how passionate I am about it. And so, we've got an experienced staff that's going to get a game plan in place. They return those guys. They got a good football team, and we got a huge challenge ahead.
Marty Bannister, Ohio Radio. We talked last week, Tim, about your focus going on the road. What did you like about Saturday? I thought certainly the first half of the game. From a focus standpoint, your team was ready to play when it hit the field.
Yeah, I totally agree. I said it maybe post game. I had a really good feeling at the walkthroughs and the meetings at the hotel about the team. Thought we were in a good mindset, and we loose, on the road and it's hard to tell. I just felt good about the guys, and again, I'm going to tip my hat. The second half, we made some mistakes, but it's not like we just went to sleep. Central, I mean, they're a prideful program, and they made some plays on us, and made the quarterback switch. The dude did a good job. They executed, but we made enough plays at the end to get it done. But I really liked our mindset. I think it's going to give us confidence on this next one, And again, it's rivalry, so it should be a lot of fun.
Was that Parker's best game?
Pretty close up to this point. He can play better. His good is good, and we had a protection on the turnover. Had a protection thing. It wasn't his fault. Called it right. Had a busted assignment. Had a free guy. And he's got to know to live another day, and just go down, throw it away, But he's got to know to live another day, I think it was third down on the call, and we just got to be okay with ending the series with a kick, which in that case would be in a punt, right? And so that's really the biggest glaring thing that he had. So I'm going to say it was, with the exception of that one play. He's got it in him to play better. As I got it in me to coach better, and we're never going to be perfect. But I really, really, really like the way he's trending, and he's getting better each week because he didn't have a lot of reps as far as experience coming into the season. And, again, he's gritty and tough. And he wants to be great. So,
Coach, you just talked about Parker, but for Miami, Brett Gabbert had arguably his best game of the season against Eastern Michigan. 10 completions and 4 touchdowns. How do you kind of limit the explosive play ability of that offense?
They're different than they were a year ago. Brett didn't play in last year's game, and unfortunately had the injury. Again, he's a great young man. So they're more spread. They're in different formations. They got after us last year in 12 personnel in the second half. They were content with some runs. They had that big running back. They got the player of the year and the quarterback. And like I said, he had his best game. I think he threw a big post in the first. I think it's the first play of the game against Eastern. And so I think that you're going to see that from him because he's not playing Notre Dame. He's not playing Cincinnati. He's not playing Northwestern at the Big Ten, all on the road. And I'm just going to tell you, he's gonna play better. Just like, Parker at Syracuse versus, it's just what it is. All right. And so he's player of the year for a reason. They do a good job with him. Everything's going to go through him as it should. When you got a quarterback like that. And we're going to have to try to do our best to make him one-dimensional best we can and now execute him.
Coach, can you kind of just talk about the Miami signs that are just posted around the facility? What are you trying to achieve with all that?
Yeah. Again, we have so many new guys, and it's a rivalry game. As I got, alumni that I've met in my 20 years here, a lot of guys that played here, guys that played in the 80s, 70s. I got a text from a guy that played in 68 this morning. You know, I mean, it's a thing. And I've been here so long. If I was, would have came in after Coach left and didn't have all the years of experience here, I probably wouldn't get those. But that comes along with when you hire somebody from then that's been here so long. I've got relationships with so many alumni, and it's talked about. It's that type of game, and college football is great. I know I said that several times, but the signs. It's just a little reminder. Because you got so many new guys, and this is a game that a lot of our alumni, and I'm sure theirs, point to.
You look at the record right now, 4-2, 2 losses to Power 4 teams, but you've won every other game. And what does it mean to be able to, take care of business against the teams you should be, and kind of focus on what's in front of you for your team?
As every staff's going to tell you, they want to try to win them all, and it's 1 week at a time, and one game at a time, as you heard me say. We're in a good spot just because of league play. The staff's done a marvelous job. But you want perfection, and I think everybody would agree. We have not played our best game yet for 4 quarters. We played a couple here and a couple there, so we got it in us, and we're going to keep coaching them. Just like I'm sure Coach Martin knows they haven't played their best. But I would bet you, I would bet you that they have had their best game up to date, after the Eastern game. This is probably their best game up to date. And so it should be a well of a matchup,
You've obviously talked a lot about like the new guys and not having experienced this rivalry, but for the returners and the guys who have played in it for a couple of years, is revenge a big piece of it, especially considering what happened last year?
We don't talk about it. I'm sure they want to win. They want to beat Miami. Miami wants to beat us. We don't use it. I just go back to coaches or leaders and programs. They use stats and things like that to what you said. And I understand that. This program is built on blue collar, one at a time, and what produces those numbers. That's the thing. I mean, what produces those numbers is what we're built on, and it's part Nick Saban, the process, and it can't be about the outcome. It's got to be about the college football. It's a rivalry game. A lot of the guys in the roster. We know guys in their staff. And go that approach and give it your best. And so, so you happen to, it doesn't go your way, or it does go your way. It got 24 hours and you got to go to the next one. And that's the only way you can do it. That's how I see it. Yeah, it's Miami week. If they got, I'm just kidding. No.
Do you have any injury updates specifically to Adonis in the offensive line?
Adonis, he's gonna, just like last Monday, he's gonna try to go today, and we're gonna see where he's at. He's done that for the last month, every Monday for the last month. And he is coming off, I think now almost 3 weeks, of just intense rehab on the lower body issue. So we'll see. Offensive line, Denny's probably not. Carson Heidecker got a chance. That's fair, and I was up front with you last week on it, and that's how it is today. I'll know more on Carson as the week progresses. Our goal is to take them both. Neither one of them traveled last week. Our goal is our hope is to take both those guys and see where they're at.
With that in mind, how well did that group play for you on Saturday?
Hey, man. I mean, they did a great job. The protection issue that I talked about with Parker, it wasn't O-line. And I mean, and we had a lot of different moving parts up there. So Coach Rudolph and getting Coach Smith and the entire offense getting the best 5 out there. Moving Davion out to tackle. Davion's such a good athlete. He's played all 5 of them. I mean, he's been here for 3.5 years. He's played all 5 positions. So and then Jordan's been at tackle and has played meaningful in games. Just lacking the experience for Jordan, but played solid. And then we got Trent Allen, and so that's our best five. But they did a really nice job, in the game. So probably the biggest thing that happened, those two injuries on those tackles happened right before an open week, and that gave us some extra time, and we took advantage. They took advantage of it,
I want to ask you about Miami, and you talked about rivalries in this era where so many rivalries are disappearing because of realignment. This one survives.
I think that's great.
That adds some specialness to it, doesn't it?
I think I'm really that's a great point, Marty, because some of them are disappearing, and it's unfortunate. I said that's all at my age. I grew up on college football. I got 3 channels in the house. There's an ABC rivalry game, and a CBS one, on Saturdays. I think SEC was on CBS and ABC had, Oklahoma, Nebraska. NBC wasn't carrying games back then, I think. I grew up on those things, and most of our older coaches did. Okay, and so this one has survived, and I think it's great. Our commissioner and protecting the rivalry games, whether it be Toledo and Bowling Green, there are others. The wagon wheel game, with Ken and Akron, whenever that is, and we have protected those, and the pods and how it is set up is really well thought through, and I think it's just I think it's great for college football. It's great for our league. It's just I grew up. That's what I know, and I think it's exciting.